Name it. Most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
Which Chinese factory supplies Louis Vuitton? Let me tell you the secret. Louis Vuitton have many Chinese suppliers, but they don't admit it. 50% of Louis Vuitton bags are made in these two places, Guangzhou City and Dongguan City.
Y'all, could the Chinese manufacturers have really pushed Bernard into stepping down? Because, listen, LVMH shareholders had given Bernard the green light to stay CEO until he was 85 years old. 85, y'all, and he still had a whole decade to keep luxury fashion in his grip. But here we are, with him at just 76 years young, and whispers are flying that Bernard might be ready to hang up his custom suits for good. And y'all, it ain't just because he's slowing down at 76, it's those tariffs, the Chinese TikTokers coming for luxury brands' throats, and receipts spilling that these so-called French-made luxury goods are actually rolling out of Chinese factories with a 1,000% markup. Y'all, it started with Hermès, and now Louis Vuitton's catching heat. This is the kind of tea you don't want to miss. So buckle up, because we're diving into the shiny chaos behind those Louis Vuitton logos. Let's get to it. Starting at the top, the Italian government just snatched Dior and LVMH by their designer collars and started airing them out. They're hitting Dior, LVMH, and Armani with lawsuits, calling them out for lying about where their goods are made. And y'all, it's not giving quaint Italian artisan vibes. Not even close. Turns out, a lot of these made-in-Italy luxury pieces are mass-produced in China, with brands doing the bare minimum in Italy, like sewing on a button or strap just to slap on that made-in-Italy label. But here's the real kicker. Back in June 2024, Italian courts put Dior's production company in Italy, Dior SRL, under full court control. Why? Prosecutors found Dior was subcontracting to tiny Chinese-owned factories like Pelletteria, Elizabetha Yang SRL, and New Leather Italy SRLS. And y'all, the conditions in there? Straight up vile. Workers pulling insane overtime with no pay, no health protections, literally sleeping at their sewing machines to meet orders. Meanwhile, Dior's out here charging $6,000 for a handbag.
Dior less than 60 euros to make a handbag that it sells for nearly 3,000 euros. That's what Italian authorities found out when they raided factories making products for Dior and other fashion brands like Armani.
Y'all, let's get one thing straight. Dior ain't the only one playing dirty. This is the luxury industry's nasty little secret period. They're selling you this fantasy of European craftsmanship, but behind closed doors, they're cutting every corner to stack their cash. So next time you're clutching that $3,000 bag feeling all bougie, just know you might be holding a big fat lie. And y'all, hold up, because it gets even messier when you hear how little these workers are paid. You're gonna want to throw hands for real. Right after those lawsuits started dropping, Reuters came through with some straight up shocking tea. No cap, this might make you want to yeet your designer bag out the window, or at least shove it to the back of your closet. Turns out LVMH, the folks behind Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, and more, has been straight up exploiting Chinese workers, not just in China, but in these shady little workshops tucked away in Italy. And the numbers? Absolutely wild. Meanwhile, people are out here breaking their banks for nearly $3 grand. Insider sources say these luxury bags weren't just made in sketchy conditions. They were crafted by workers without legal papers to even be in Italy. These folks were literally living in the factories, sleeping next to the machines, grinding 15, 16, even 10 hours a day. No breaks, no homes, no basic rights, just slaving away so these brands can keep pushing their luxury dream to the world. And the audacity? LVMH is still out here flexing at fashion shows, sipping champagne, acting like they're the kings of style when they're running the shadiest hustle behind the scenes. That $1,500 Louis Vuitton never full bag you see all over TikTok and Insta, the one everybody's fighting to cop, guess how much it costs to make? $50. Yeah, you heard me. And this ain't just some random gossip floating around. Y'all, insiders and investigators have been hollering about this markup for years, and it's straight up wild. Louis Vuitton's markup is over 1,000%, meaning they're whipping up bags for pocket change and flipping them for luxury prices like they're crafted from mermaid scales or pixie dust. But hold up, there's more. A former luxury manufacturing insider spilled some piping hot tea, saying a lot of these so-called high-end materials ain't even true luxury grade anymore. We're talking not always top-tier leather. The real math? A square foot of Veda leather, some of the best out there, costs about $78. Let's be generous and say they're getting it for $10 a square foot. You need 2 square feet, so that's $20 for the leather, $5 for the inner linings, fabrics, and authentication chip, and $10 for labor. That romantic vibe of Italian grandpas hand-stitching bags bags under the Tuscan sun, toss it out the window. It's a total fantasy, straight garbage. Most of these bags are either made in China or by underpaid Chinese workers slaving away in grimy workshops across Europe. Not the glam ateliers the ads have you believing in. So let's keep it 100 for a hot second. That $1,500 Neverfull bag probably costs less than your phone bill to make, stitched together by an overworked, underpaid worker in awful conditions. And Louis Vuitton slaps a 1,000% markup on it because they know you'll pay for the flex. Just when you thought it couldn't get messier, TikTok turned it into a full-on war zone. Chinese creators said, "Enough with the lies," and started dragging luxury brands through the dirt for the world to see. One name you gotta know, Wang Sen. This guy wasn't just talking smack, he was dropping full-blown exposés, walking through factories, showing workers sewing what looked suspiciously like Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Gucci bags. And y'all, the resemblance wasn't a coincidence.
You recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very low. What I'm really proud of is that first, we have the best quality control. Two, we have the best craftsmanship. You know, Chinese craftsmen are always intelligent and diligent. Three, we have the most complete supply chain. We always get what we want, like zippers, accessories of any kind, any color, and leathers immediately. Now, as the USA and its little European brothers are trying to refuse Chinese goods, don't you think luxury brands are not trying to move their OEM out of China? Yes, they did, but they failed. Because the OEM factories out of China, they don't have good quality control, and they don't have as good craftsmanship. Their workers are either too expensive or too lazy. Three, they don't have any supply chain. They always have trouble getting leather or zippers or any accessories. That is why they failed, and that is why we will always be the best OEM factory for luxury brands. Why don't you just contact us and buy from us? You won't believe the prices we give you.
But here's the kicker. After Wang Sen's video started blowing up, TikTok swooped in fast with the bans, wiping his accounts clean. Poof, gone. Y'all, not once, not twice, but multiple times, TikTok was out here scrubbing accounts and wiping videos off the platform. The Chinese girlies? They were already 10 steps ahead, moving to the next play. Apps like Temu and DHgate started climbing the App Store charts like nobody's business. Why? Because sellers flooded TikTok with luxury dupes, bags made in the same factories with side-by-side comparisons, full breakdowns, and quality checks that had folks shook. The manufacturers aren't just sitting pretty, waiting for these brands to clean up their mess. Nah, they're flipping the script entirely. Some of these Chinese manufacturers are woke, and moving different. They're looking at this like, why are we getting paid crumbs to make these bags when we can just sell them ourselves? And where's the lie? They're cutting out the middleman, skipping the brand names and crazy markups, and selling direct to consumers. Same high-end bags, same materials, straight from the source, for a fraction of what you'd drop at a Louis Vuitton or Dior boutique. This could be the start of the wildest luxury revolution we've ever seen, shaking up LVMH's whole image, their legacy, and that so-called unbreakable trust. The trust these luxury brands built with the public, it's getting torched, and this ain't no little scandal that's gonna blow over by next week. This is deep. People are heated, feeling straight up lied to, hoodwinked, bamboozled, dropping their life savings thinking they were copping the creme de la creme, only to find out their bag was slapped together in some random factory next to somebody's flip-flops. Be so for real. And here's the word on the street. Bernard Arnault, the CEO who turned LVMH into the luxury titan it is, might be packing his bags. Early retirement talks are buzzing, and it's giving, I'm too old for this mess energy. Picture being the king of luxury, once the richest man alive, only to watch your empire crack because TikTok whistleblowers and viral factory tours are spilling all the tea. The illusion was everything, y'all, and once it shattered, the whole house of cards started wobbling. They're saying Bernard might try to play it off, like he's stepping down gracefully to sip wine with his family. But let's not kid ourselves. Ain't nobody bouncing happily when their billion-dollar brand is getting dragged online 24/7. If you think this luxury drama is spicy now, buckle up, because this could be the start of the biggest industry shakeup we've ever seen. Now, I need to hear from y'all. Have you been played by these luxury brands? Can Louis Vuitton weather this exposure era? Or is this the slow, messy downfall of the biggest luxury empire ever? And Bernard, is he really retiring with a smile or just jumping off a sinking ship? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this tea is just getting started. And don't sleep. Like, comment, and subscribe, because I know y'all are living for this luxury drama just like me.